I'd spent 21 years running the shop floor, not a single major mishap under my belt. My prize for that? A flimsy cardboard box to pack up my life. Name's Mitch Carver, 57, head foreman at Blue Ridge Industrial in Boise, Idaho. We churned out heavy-duty pumps and fittings for chemical plants, precision stuff where one slip could mean disaster down the line. That Monday, Karen from HR buzzed me into the meeting room. Some guy named Victor Hayes, the new operations chief who'd barely been there 3 months, sat with a laptop, manicured nails, crisp tie. Never saw him near the machines except for the required safety walkthrough. "Mitch, we're rolling out some structural updates," Karen said, pushing a manila envelope my way. "The company's consolidating leadership roles." Victor bobbed his head, muttering about market trends and operational efficiency. I flipped open the envelope, severance terms, 2 weeks to train someone new, half my pension up front, the rest in drips. The company logo on the letterhead looked off, redesigned last spring, no heads up to us grunts. "Your replacement starts tomorrow," Karen tossed out, like she was mentioning tacos in the lunchroom. "Ryan Kessler, fresh business graduate from Idaho State. Bright kid." I stared at the tables with swirls. 21 years, 0 disasters. Over 300 workers went home safely on my watch. I'd crafted the safety rules we lived by, set the equipment maintenance rhythm, mentored every supervisor and tech in the place. "Got it," I said. Victor exhaled like he'd dodged a bullet. Karen's smile didn't touch her eyes. That night, I took the long route home, cruising by the old waterfront where the grain mills once stood. My dad worked those before the jobs drifted east. He'd always said, "Mitch, a man's worth is in what he builds, not what he brags about." I built something solid at Blue Ridge, a system, a vibe, a track record. Now I had 2 weeks to pass it to some rookie who wouldn't get what he was tearing apart. I called my old pal Gus, who'd kicked back into retirement last summer. "They're cutting me loose," I told him. "Jerks," he spat. "You gonna stir up trouble?" "Nah," I said, "but they'll figure it out soon enough. Some things you can't teach in 2 weeks. I hung up, eyeing my work boots by the door, caked with 21 years of shop grit that never fully scrubbed off. They had no clue what they were tossing out. I started at Blue Ridge when my boy, Lucas, was barely a year old. Me and Cindy, married 4 years then, leaned on that job for steady pay, benefits, and a shot at a future. I pulled 3 shifts a week to start, climbed to supervisor in 4 years, assistant foreman after 7, then head foreman when old Walt Jenkins hung it up. That shop was my second home. I knew every machine's hum, could hear when the main compressor was off before any alarm blinked. I'd spot a loose bolt from 50 feet, smell when the coolant needed swapping, feel a 1-degree shift in the air. Cindy used to joke that I loved that plant more than our house. She might have been onto something. After she split a decade ago, taking Lucas to Oregon, I sank everything into the job, holidays, late nights, snow days when half the crew was stuck. The company swapped owners twice while I was there. First, Great Plains Holdings in 2010, who mostly left us alone. Then, Pinnacle Equity grabbed us in 2019, private equity types with their data models and cost cutting. They started shaving corners fast. I felt the shifts creep in, tighter budgets for repairs, bargain bin parts, longer gaps between machine checkups. They swapped out 2 of my top techs for temp workers, slashed spare parts stock, and kept jacking up output goals. 7 months back, Victor Hayes showed up with his fancy degree in charts. First week, he called a floor meeting. "We're launching new performance metrics across all units," he declared. "Data's the future of production." Afterwards, my lead tech, Marco, pulled me aside. "Mitch, this guy's bad news." Asked if we could skip part of the safety shutdown to speed things up. I shrugged it off, told Marco we'd handle it like always, but the red flags kept popping. Victor quit showing for monthly safety briefings. My emails about equipment fixes went ignored. 3 requests for training funds got shot down. Then they brought in 3 greenhorn supervisors, straight from college, second-guessing systems we'd honed for years. "Mitch, do we really need a full system check every shift?" one piped up. Another, "Daily inspections feel like overkill. The handbook says weekly's fine." I started logging everything myself, photos, dates, notes on every safety talk, every maintenance plea. Figured I might need evidence someday of how we'd kept things tight. Didn't think I'd be out the door this quick. The kid replacing me, Ryan Kessler, rolled in day one with polished loafers and a tie, clutching a tablet like a lifeline. 29, slick hair, handshake like he practiced it. "I'm pumped to shadow you before I take the reins," he said. "I've crunched the output data and spotted some optimization potential." I handed him safety goggles and steel-toe boots. "Floor first, numbers after," I said. For 2 weeks, I walked Ryan through it all: maintenance logs, safety drills, crew files, intros to every shift lead and operator. But I noticed something. He scribbled about workflows but blanked on the people. Didn't ask Marco about his daughter starting college. Missed that Lena on the line needed brakes for her asthma. Didn't get that the old pump rig needed a gentle start on chilly mornings. Last Thursday, I caught him chatting with Victor in the break room. "With the new shift plan, we can probably cut 2 maintenance jobs," Ryan said, like it was nothing. I overheard Ryan talking to Victor in the break room, all smug. "That extra safety check Mitch always pushed for the main pump? The manual doesn't even list it." Victor grinned like he'd won a bet. "That's the kind of thinking we hired you for." They didn't notice me by the vending machine. I slipped out, a knot tightening in my gut. These weren't just budget tweaks, they were unraveling the protections I'd spent decades building, the kind that kept folks from losing hands or worse. That afternoon, I made up my mind. I rounded up my core crew: Marco, Lena, Pete from maintenance, and Calvin, who handled nights, for a quick huddle in the parking lot after shift. "They're gonna start skimping," I told them, voice low. "And this new kid doesn't know what he's missing." Marco leaned in. "What's the play, Mitch? We can't just ignore the boss." "Don't," I said. "But track everything. Keep your own notes. If the gear starts acting up, don't call upstairs." I handed them each a scrap of paper with my cell number. "Call me." My last day, I cleared out my locker while Ryan was already parked at my desk, shuffling my stuff around. I tossed him the keys. "Any final tips?" he asked, eyes glued to his tablet. "Yeah," I said. "Listen to the shop. The machine will tell you what's wrong if you learn their language." He gave me a tight smile, like I'd told a bad joke. I walked out, no fanfare, no cake, just a quick handshake from Karen in HR and a gate pass that went dead the second I pulled out of the lot. But I wasn't done with Blue Ridge. Not by a long shot. I was biding my time. 2 weeks later, Marco called, voice hushed like he was ducked in a corner. "They're stretching the pump maintenance to every other week." "Log it," I told him. "Track any pressure drops, leaks, weird noises." 3 days later, Pete rang. They nixed my order for spare generator parts. Said we'll wait for the next stock count. I started a notebook, jotting every call, every shortcut, every red flag. By week 4, I fired off an email to Victor and Karen, keeping it sharp and professional. Hearing some troubling talk about changes to safety and maintenance. I ran those systems for over 20 years, happy to weigh in on the risks. Karen shot back in under an hour, "Appreciate the note, Mitch. Ryan's already boosting efficiency, and the transition's going great. We'll reach out if we need you." Translation: keep out. 5 weeks in, the first hiccup hit. A minor one: a belt snapped on the main pump, killed production for 2 hours. Nobody was hurt. Then a small fluid leak in week 7. By week 9, 3 electrical glitches cropped up. Calvin called after each one. "New guy pinning it on the gear says it's all old and neglected." I clenched my jaw. That equipment ran like a dream when we maintained it right. At week 10, I couldn't sit still anymore. I swung by the plant at lunch, parked in the lot, and flagged Marco over to my truck. "How rough is it?" I asked. He glanced around. "Rough. Output's down 17%. They can Pete last week for pushing back. Ryan's got his old frat buddy running maintenance now, guy wouldn't know a gasket from a gear shift." "Anyone hurt?" That was my real worry. "Not yet." But Calvin nearly got his arm caught when a safety relay crapped out. Ryan called it a user error. Right then, I knew what to do. I had a contact at the state safety board. Next morning, I made the call, laid out my history with the plant, and flagged the changes that screamed trouble. The inspector, a woman named Clara Vaughn, scribbled every detail. "We'll do a surprise visit within 2 weeks," she said. I hung up, feeling like the gears might finally grind their way. 3 days later, Marco called, voice shaky. They know, Mitch. Someone ratted that you tipped off the safety board. Victor's losing it. My stomach sank. What's going down? They've got us on overtime, scrubbing everything, fudging maintenance logs. Shut down the lines to patch up the issues before the inspectors show. Then a courier dropped a legal letter at my door from Blue Ridge, accusing me of meddling with their business and breaching some vague confidentiality clause. They threatened to sue if I kept spreading lies. I called my lawyer, Hank Larson. He skimmed the letter. They're posturing. You haven't leaked trade secrets, but they can bury you in legal costs if they want. Can they block the inspection? I asked. Nope. Once the board's in, it's happening. But watch your back, Mitch. These suits fight nasty when they're cornered. I hung up, pissed but uneasy. They were scrambling to fix the exact problems I'd called out, trying to scare me quiet. But what happens when the inspection is done? They'd slide back to their old tricks, just sneakier. The inspection came and went. Blue Ridge squeaked by. Clara called after. They patched the glaring stuff, she said. But their logs were spotty, and some workers sounded coached. I flagged it in my report. Any real consequences? I asked. Small fines, nothing that'll shift their ways long-term. I thanked her, hung up, and stewed. No shock there, outfits like Blue Ridge know the game, fix what's visible, pay the slap-on-the-wrist fine, then back to normal. That weekend, my doorbell rang. Calvin stood on my porch, looking twitchy. Didn't want to bring this to the plant, he said, handing me a USB drive. What's on it? I asked. Maintenance records, he said. The real ones. Calvin came inside, and we pored over the USB drive for hours. The files painted a grim picture, worse than I'd feared. This wasn't just about swapping me out for a cheaper suit. Blue Ridge had a company-wide plan to skimp on safety and upkeep, betting the cost of accidents against their profit margins. One email from a Pinnacle equity higher-up made my blood run cold. Insurance handles injuries. Falling short on earnings spooked shareholders. They were playing roulette with my crew's lives, the people I'd kept safe for 21 years. There's more, Calvin said, clicking another folder. Ryan's fully aware the gear's breaking down. He showed me a list of rejected maintenance requests, critical safety parts, backup systems, routine swaps, all shot down with the same excuse, hold off until next quarter, budget limits. I leaned back. Why risk your neck showing me this, Calvin? His jaw tightened. Lena's cousin got hurt yesterday. A guard on the pump failed, the one Ryan said wasn't urgent. Kid's 20, lost 2 fingers. They pinned it on him, made him sign forms while he was doped up on meds. My fists balled up. They can't get away with that. They're doing it, Calvin said. And it's only a matter of time before something catastrophic happens. After he left, I sat at my kitchen table, the evidence sprawled out. Anger wrestled with duty. These weren't just numbers, they were my people, folks I'd worked beside for decades, families I knew. I reached for my phone to call the safety board again, then stopped. Another inspection wouldn't cut it. Blue Ridge would patch things up, pay a fine, and keep rolling. This needed a bigger play. I called Marco, Lena, and 6 other old hands from the shop, setting up a meeting at Gus's place the next day, away from prying eyes. When they showed, I laid out the whole mess, sharing Calvin's files. What's our move? Marco asked. Take it to the news? I shook my head. Not yet. We need something they can't ignore. Like what? Lena pressed. Something that hits their wallet, I said. I need every shortcut, every breakdown, every close call since I left, logged, dated, with pictures if you can. Gus frowned. They'll fire anyone caught sniffing around. I know, I said. So we play it sharp and slow. I looked at them, good, skilled folks who didn't deserve to be cogs in a corporate grinder. Give me 2 weeks, I told them. And stay sharp. Stay safe. For the next 2 weeks, I was a shadow at Blue Ridge. Never stepped on the property, but my crew kept me in the loop. Daily updates poured in, shift logs, equipment failures, near misses. I pieced it together like a puzzle, building an airtight case. Meanwhile, I made 3 moves. First, I reached out to Carl Dempsey, an old contact now working for Blue Ridge's biggest client, Cascade Power Systems. We met at a diner 15 miles from the plant. Mitch, Been a while, Carl said, gripping my hand. Where'd you vanish? Forced out, I said, but that's not why I'm here. I slid him photos of faulty fittings shipped from Blue Ridge in the last month, parts headed for Cascade's grid. These passed inspection? He asked, brow creasing. They're new, half-assed checks, yeah, I said. This corner cutting's got consequences, Carl. I'd hate for your systems to take the hit. He studied the shots. This is bad, Mitch. We've got long ties with suppliers, but safety's non-negotiable. Just asking Cascade to run its own quality sweep, I said. See it for yourself. Second, I called Clara Vaughn at the safety board again. This time, I didn't just vent, I sent hard proof, specific violations, dates, times, photos. This is a lot tighter than last time, Clara said. I'll need to loop in my boss. Fine, I said. Just keep my name off the record for now. The third move was the gutsiest. I texted Ryan Kessler, asked him to grab lunch somewhere off-site. Surprisingly, he bit. He looked worn out when he showed at the diner, bags under his eyes, tie crooked. Thanks for coming, I said after we ordered. How's the shop holding up? He raked a hand through his hair. It's a disaster. Machines breaking constantly, corporate hounding me for output numbers. I can't hit targets when the lines keep crashing. They didn't clue you in, did they? I said. Told you it needed a shiny new approach, that I was stuck in the past. But every fix you try just spawns more headaches. He nodded, almost defeated. It's like the whole system's rigged to fail. I leaned in. That's because they gutted what worked. Those maintenance plans you ditched? They weren't overkill. Explain corporate safety strategies, worker rights advocacy. Those schedules were critical, I told Ryan. Victor keeps saying the budget won't allow it. I raised an eyebrow. And how's that budget holding up with output tanking and defects piling up? Ryan's silence said it all. Look, I said, I didn't drag you here to rub it in. I'm here because in about 2 weeks, things are gonna hit the fan. Cascade Power's gonna demand a quality check. The safety board's coming back for a no-notice inspection. And a stack of evidence about systemic safety violations is about to land on desks at corporate, the state, and beyond. Ryan went pale. You're threatening me? Nah, I said. I'm offering you an out. You can be the scapegoat when this implodes, the green manager who couldn't hack it, or you can get ahead of it. How? He asked. Start logging every order Victor and corporate forced on you. Every maintenance request they blocked, every safety worry they ignored. Ryan stared at his cold burger. They'll fire me. Maybe, I said. But you'd be doing what's right, and you won't have blood on your hands. I slid him my card. Think it over. You've got a week. 3 days later, he texted, I'm in. What do you need? The dominoes were lining up. All we needed was one final shove, a moment to make Blue Ridge face the music. Right on cue, the main pump, the backbone of the line, blew out the next day. No one got hurt, thank God, but production screeched to a halt. The tipping point was here. My phone buzzed at 6:20 a.m. It was Victor Hayes himself, voice tight. Mitch, we've got a problem at the plant. Heard about it, I said coolly. The cruise group chat had been lit up since midnight. I'll cut to it, he said. We need your know-how. The pump's dead, orders are stacking up, and our maintenance guys are stumped. That's because you sacked Pete, who kept that pump purring for 14 years, I pointed out. Victor sighed, heavy. Can we skip the history lesson? We'll bring you in as a consultant to get us running. I'm listening, I said. $3.50 an hour, cash. No meddling in how I fix it. Just needs to be up by week's weekend. I almost chuckled, they thought this was about a paycheck. I'll be there in an hour, I said. But I've got terms. 1. I bring my crew, Marco, Calvin, Lena. 2. I call the shots on repairs and parts. 3. I get full access to maintenance logs for the last 6 months. Victor paused, then muttered, fine, whatever. When I rolled into the plant, it was a zoo, workers milling around, supervisors whispering in clumps, the big pump sitting dark and lifeless. Ryan jogged up. Man, am I glad you're here. It's worse than we thought. I nodded. Let's take a look. The pump told the story, a cascade of failures from months of skipped maintenance, exactly what I'd warned about. I turned to Victor, who was lurking nearby. I can fix this, but first, you need to see something. I pulled out my phone and opened my email. I just sent a report to Pinnacle Equities execs, the safety board, and Cascade Power. It spells out every safety violation, every shortcut, every risk your policies created. Victor's face went ashen. You can't do that. Already did, I said. Now, you want this pump fixed or not? 3 days, that's what it took to get the pump running. A job that would have been a quick tune-up if they'd stuck to my old schedules. Over those 3 days, Blue Ridge got hammered. Cascade Power froze their orders pending a deep quality audit. The safety board swept in for a second, harder look. Pinnacle Equity sent their own suits to size up the mess. By day 3, Victor was out, shuffled off to corporate. Ryan stayed, but demoted, answering to a new operations chief, Randall Holt, sent from the parent company. After the pump was back online, Randall called me into his office. Hell of a job, he said. Corporate went through your evidence. It's ironclad. I stayed quiet, waiting. We're overhauling safety and maintenance protocols across all sites, he went on. And we want you as Director of Manufacturing Operations for Blue Ridge. I tilted my head. What's the pay? He threw out a number 40% above my old salary, with full control over safety and maintenance within budget limits. I shook my head. That's the issue. You can't nickel and dime safely. I stood, then paused. I'll consult, 3 days a week, my rate. I'll rebuild the systems I designed, train your people right, get production humming again. But I'm not signing full-time. Randall nodded. Deal. I didn't come back for a title or cash. I came for Marco, Lena, Calvin, and the rest of the crew who deserved a safe shop. I came to restore what I'd built over 21 years. When I stepped onto the floor that next Monday, the machines were already running smoother. They knew their old keeper was back. Explain corporate safety strategies. Occupational safety regulations.